So one question I have for you is, how many of you are public library directors? Raise your hand. Okay, so a few. How many of you are youth services librarians? What? Okay, do it again. I need to see if there's anybody out there. Okay, a few. All right, thank you. You're youth services librarians. You're used to entertaining 3-year-olds. All right. Academic librarians. Okay. Adult services. Okay. Mid-level managers, branch managers, division managers, department managers. Okay, pretty good. Okay, what did I miss? School librarians? No school. Whoa! That's awesome. Thank you. Okay, and another one?
Literacy, I do know the word.
Literacy services. Oh boy, have I got something that's going to make you cry toward the end of my presentation. So I started life as I thought I was going to be a reference librarian because I was really good at those classes. I'm old. I went to library school in 1977. I'm a graduate of the University of Washington. Very proud of that. Yay! Go Dogs! Actually, I went to a Giants game on Monday night that was organized by this, there were 8 of us from UW in San Francisco watching the Giants, but it was actually really fun. And I was, of course, the only librarian, and the Giants won, which was a good thing. So I started life thinking I was going to be a reference librarian, and I ended up being an accidental children's librarian. I had taken a couple of courses in school, and those were the only jobs, kind of like now. I don't know about you, but adult services jobs we just hired a business librarian. That's very rare in my system these days as a public librarian. We mostly hire people to do youth services. There's a real change, if you will, in what we do, I think. So part of what I want to do today is spend some time figuring out, I think I know who I am, but I want to know who you are. I want to know what frightens you, what excites you about the work that we do right now. I want to walk away, hopefully, having given you some food for thought and some tools to use with the folks that you work with. I'm assuming, tell me if I'm wrong, that you're here because you see yourself as a change agent. Is that true? Or you see yourself as somebody who wants to foster that ability in others? Or somebody told you had to come? I hope that's not the case, but you know, we're all here for different reasons. But one of the things that I've learned in the last several years, it started when I was the director of the Omaha Public Library. I've only been a library director twice. And that was in 2003. I moved from Portland, Oregon, where I was head of reference and information services, to Omaha, Nebraska to be the library director. And I was there for just exactly 6 years. I left on my 6th anniversary and moved to Sacramento. Do any of you remember reading about the Sacramento Public Library about 8 years ago? Was it good news?
8 years, I remember more recently.
Oh, okay.
It was very good news.
It's all really good right now, I like to believe.
Yeah.
But in 2008, the grand jury of Sacramento County actually focused its eye of Mordor on the Sacramento Public Library. 3 people were arrested. They all went to prison. It turns out they had been embezzling money from the library through this very complicated facilities repair scheme. And you know, it was just one of those, it was like people, if you were in a gathering and you worked at the library and people said, what do? You would say, I work at stuff. And, you know, it was really interesting. And I'm one of those people, I decided probably in a different life, in a different generation, I would have been a firefighter because I love to run into burning buildings. And so there I was in Omaha, Nebraska, and I was offered the opportunity to move to Sacramento. And I met my husband in California. I'm a California native. We met, fell in love, moved to Washington so I could go to graduate school, never came back. We were gone for 32 years. And it was a real eye-opener for me to move back to California. And I think in some ways that was when I'd already had this reputation for being a change agent. But part of what I want to share today is all the things that you really have to not do. And I'm sharing what I've learned. So anyway, I've been in Sacramento now for 6 years. I think all of our news is mostly good. We're a pretty poor library system. We're funded at about $25 per capita. How many of you know your per capita funding? I think that's really important. I think it's important to know where your money comes from, where it goes, and how you compare to other libraries. I have to say, and I know Robbie's you're the state data coordinator, right? Or you used to be. You are still. I used to love the PLDS book because you could quickly reference it. And as an old reference librarian, right, I know I love the internet. I love being online. I love sitting with my husband and he'll say, wait a minute, where did we see that person? Was that person blah, blah, blah? And I'll say, oh, he was in Rumpole of the Bailey, and we're kind of public television geeks. Oh yeah, he was that guy. Oh yeah, and I'll look him up and there he was. And sure enough, he was in Rumpole of the Bailey. That's great. But certain tools are much better in print. The PLDS, in my opinion, is one of those things because you can look at where you are, where your funding goes, kind of your averages, and where you fit with other library systems. And I don't know why I just said all that, but it's something that has great meaning for me. So what I hope we're going to do today, we're going to talk about what we've all experienced. Another question for you. How many of you have been in the profession more than 30 years? More than 40 years? No. Okay, we're the old people. More than 20 years? Okay. Less than 10 years? Okay, less than 5 years? Wow. Okay. So then where does that leave us? Like 15 to 20? I saw a lot of hands, there were a lot of hands that didn't go up. So, all right, so that means that you got your degree in around the turn of the century. Okay. So you've lived in the world as we know it now. All right. The other thing that I hope we'll accomplish today is that we're going to have some honest conversations about what are some skill needs that we all need to develop or need to develop in our staffs. Because it's a huge issue and we often don't talk about it, in my opinion, enough. I'm hoping that we'll share some ideas on how you can all go back, because you've got homework, right? You're going to be talking about this 3 more times after today. So you're going to have to go away thinking about what is it that you're going to implement, or how are you going to incorporate everything that we do over the next 2 days. And I think I'm hoping that we'll have the opportunity to make some dynamic connections between things. And I'm really a big believer in how we make life easier on ourselves. So, dynamic connections. Any ideas about what connects these two people?
Social commentary.
Social commentary. Great satirists of their age, perhaps. I think that the two. Anybody not know who the guy on the right is? Sacha Baron Cohen, otherwise known as Borat. I think Jane Austen and Sacha Baron Cohen have a lot in common. I think they are really connected. Anybody else seen those terrible movies? They're really awful. My husband makes me turn. I have to watch anything that he does when my husband's not in the room. But truly, one of the things that I think it's important for us all to do is to see if we can make connections between things that are seemingly totally unrelated. Okay, I want to say one other thing. How many people are not quite awake right now? Okay, I want you to feel free to get up and get coffee. Did we tell them where the restrooms are? That's really important.
For anybody who doesn't know, Sahara West Library, you go right out the door, or right out that door right there, and we've got top open, you just take a left, and then it's either museum, you take another left, and then
there you are. Okay, so two most important things. If you need coffee, get up and get it because
pastries, fruit,
yeah, come on.
sugar.
But there's delicious fruit. I know, I had some. So I'm hoping that we'll make some dynamic connections, and I also hope that we'll share some ideas for how we can implement change in our own systems. I also really want us to talk about obstacles, whether those obstacles are people or resources or community. How many of you think you really know what your community needs and wants when it comes to library service? Be honest. How many of you think your community doesn't have half a clue about what you have to offer? Thank you. Okay. I want to say we just did a series of 11 community meetings for our strategic plan. I knew they were in there somewhere. I knew I would get to define them. We just did a series of 11 community meetings. We had more than 200 people show up. And one of the things that, and I knew it beforehand because I'm an intuitive, not a give me the data person. I use the data to just validate what I sort of already know to be true. People don't have a clue. We'd say, what can we do better? It'd be really great if you had ebooks to check out. You know what? We'll work on that. Next day, guess what? We have ebooks to check out. No, it was amazing to me the things that people who use us love us. People who don't use us. We actually did one of our sessions. There's this really cool thing in Sacramento called Portal. And this young man who went away to college, went away to Yale, came back, and he's got this idea that he wants to help Sacramento envision its future. So somebody built him this big, it's like 10 feet tall, 12 feet long, 8 feet wide, and it's all like mirrored, like infinity mirrored inside. And it sits on a sidewalk in the middle of Midtown Sacramento, and we're doing events. We just did an author event there last week, and about 15 people showed up, which was kind of cool because I didn't think anybody would show up. Because it's a book about libraries. It was a very interesting talk. But when they opened Portal, when they did their grand opening, I said, let's take our flip charts and our Post-it notes and let's do a focus group there because we're going to get a totally different audience, which we did. We got a lot of very young, hip, Sacramento people and a few like moms and dads and a few other folks. And it was great because we actually got some non-library users weighing in on the library. And what do you think they said? Just curious. These are people, the people there, not library users. What do you think they said?
Yeah.
They actually did, yes. And they kind of did that, whoa, ebooks and what Vimeo? What? You have this thing about magazines? But more,
I was looking at like libraries don't exist.
yes. Why do we need libraries? I have the internet, I buy my books, I download my books. But what was really interesting to me was that particular group. It was less about who we are, what we offer, whatever, and more about the libraries are the cornerstone of our democracy. They're the heart of our community. I cannot imagine living in a community that doesn't have a library. And to me, I actually get chills when I say that, because to me, having people actually respond to that is it's validating. Because I became a librarian in 1978. I got my degree in August of 1978, got my first job in November. I've been doing this for a long time. I took a break worked as a vendor for a while, for like 3 years, and came back to libraries. I believe in what we do. I'm excited every single day. I get up and I go to work, and I'm excited about what I'm able to accomplish and what we offer to our community. And so it was validating. It was exciting to me. So, okay, so now I've told you about me. Really fast. We're going to do this really, really fast. I want you to tell me your name, where you work, and what you hope to get out of today and tomorrow. Starting with you, go.
My name is Groundwork. I work in the Law County Library here in Southern Nevada, I'm the branch manager, and I'm hoping to take away some new fresh ideas because our library was really stagnant for a long time, and there was just like a lull, and I'm ready to get it back energized, I guess is what to say.
Good. See what she did?
She stand up.
Give her a hand. She was perfect. Okay, next.
Kim Green, I'm the branch manager. This beautiful branch.
Thank you, thank you.
And I really hope that, and Tanya said that I get some new ideas because I've been doing this a long time. There's always something to learn. And I hope that everybody here learns something as well.
Judy Sargent, branch manager of the East Library. And what I hope to get out of today is we're in the works of building a much larger library. We're in a 5,800 square foot library out of the East, and we're having those community meetings and hearing a lot about what they really want in libraries. And so I hope I learn a lot about what we can give them.
I'm Elizabeth Weeks. I work at the Las Vegas Library downtown. We're going to be moving in 2 years to a new branch, so I'm excited to sort of incorporate some of the ideas we get here from our branch.
Amanda Mongolo. I work for the Washington County Library in the Accountability branch. And I'm new to public libraries. I come from a law library. And so I'm just looking for some fresh ideas. I'm going to do this. I'm like a lieutenant public library. And one of the things that we have done in Douglas is it's very spread out, and we don't seem to be reaching a lot of the smaller communities within, and I'd like to be able to get something out of that too.
Go ahead.
Deontay Weiner, program and community collaborations for the Washington County Library System, and in those, our services in general, but programs and community collaborations, through my leader, collaborating, and trying to learn collaborations with our state.
I'm John Andrews. I'm the Internet Services Librarian for Washington County Library System, and I hope to get out of today and tomorrow motivation and inspiration to just help position Washington County Library System the go-to place in Northern Nevada for whatever you're doing.
Mark Jacobs, the Charleston Library Manager, and I hope to get out with some energized ideas to take back to our branch and hopefully these communities in a positive direction.
Christine Segura, electronic resources librarian for the Las Vegas County Library District. I'm thinking I'm in the midpoint of my library career. I don't look like it, but I am. So, I'm thinking now that in the electronic realm and that we're a lot of things are moving towards, I want to get ideas of what's out there and what's coming, that will affect library services in the future. My name is Marcella, working with Marcy, Cherandini, and I'm the scheduling specialist for the library. And what I hope to get out of today and tomorrow is some ideas for more community programs and partnerships, as well as some inspiration. I feel like I haven't been that inspired as of late, so I'm hoping that we'll all see some of that from this. So, my name is Stephen Wood. I'm the library director for Washington City Library. I hope to get out of this idea. I love it, and sometimes it's a detriment of my staff. But I hope that I get some ideas from you guys, and that I'm
My name is Steve DeMoulas. I'm with the Wisconsin Library as a health service librarian / health sciences. And what I hope to get out of this is to take some ideas of change so we can change as a unit in our branch, all change together, and then share those ideas with our patrons or our community when we do programs.
Next table. Keep it going, come on.
I'm Riley from Montano. I'm the librarian at Portland Branch in Vegas. I am love seeing what new ideas are out there, and I think we're at a unique point in time where libraries are evolving, so I'm slowly ready for that next group of librarians.
I'm Maddie Rivkah, I'm a middle school librarian here in Las Vegas. I hope to get out of today maybe some ideas on how to share with the rest of our city the importance of school librarians. Just the applause from you guys, like I'm usually the person at our staff meetings and throughout the district. I mean, there's schools without libraries, and we're always kind of to the side, so to come here and the first time to applaud me, I'm like, okay, I'm good. I could be really happy with maybe some more collaboration with the public libraries, because we've got to make some libraries now.
Hi, my name is Larry Johnson, and I work at Service Library at the Enterprise Library, and hopefully they will help me. It's basically fresh ideas that I can share.
Hi, I'm Rebecca Albert. I'm the head of collections and delivery graphic services for Clark County. I think change is coming. I think big change is coming, and so I'm hoping to get ideas to sell that change to staff, to the community, to people above and below.
I think Linwood, the branch manager at Spring Valley Library in Las Vegas. Everybody's got ideas, and I'm also here to meet more people from across the country.
My name is Megan Connolly. I am the adult public services librarian at the South Valley branch of Orange County. And we implemented lots of changes recently in the Orange County library system, and I would like to find ways to be able to verbally, get the public to realize that these changes are not random changes, that we're doing things for a purpose, that we have those.
You start. Kids literacy, 2015.
How y'all doing? I know I'm not a librarian, but I'm working on it. It's a work in progress. So I came to hopefully get some information that's outside of my books and offline classes or online classes, and to network, and to let you all know that I was super looking for a job, so whatever you say. What's your name? My name is Rhea. Rhea what? For me, who was not paying attention to all of you as you walk in, I don't want to make sure.
I'm Sarah Jack. I'm with the Washoe County Library, CRU branch, and the partnership operations manager. Ideas, inspiration, sometimes a little bit of the confidence to just get those ideas out there and to go with your gut to say this is going to work. And connecting with the people that needs to show the work.
I'm Dan Anderson, I'm a big word tailor, next door in Utah, and I'm here to get ideas, help you guys, do and database and do that.
I'm Kathy Rivkah, I'm director of services and library, and also that.
Say it again.
Virgin County Library, love lots of data.
Is there anybody here from Winnemucca?
No.
Okay. Sorry, go ahead.
And I am inspired. Everybody else
I'm Dr. Rupert. I'm the adult services librarian, at this library here in Sahara West. And I'm looking for more, just more of a professional outlook in this meeting, and also just to be a little more aware of the trends that are coming up with the
Jen and I are from the Youth Services Department at the Sunrise Library, or East Town, and I'm really excited to see what other focuses are doing right now, like health services at school libraries and professional libraries throughout the state. I'm Carrie Casanova, and I'm from
direction here pretty soon. I need to make sure the library aligns with everything that's going on, that we reach the district students, the on-campus students, all sorts of things going on. So I'm here to absorb plenty of stuff.
I'm Shelley, I'm the manager. I'm the branch manager at the Alabama Library here in Las Vegas. And I'm here today for starting a new master plan for the library and looking for new ideas, new people next year.
My name is Gene Smith. I work here at the Center West Library as a scheduling specialist. And I'm here basically to work, learn, and perhaps even contribute to my think tank we've gathered here today.
Think tank, that's what. Okay, perfect.
My name is John Crockett. I work at the Cedar View Library. I watch the county library system, and I want to see exactly how you implemented change, how you communicate change to board members, staff.
My name is Amy Dodson, and I'm the director of the Douglas County Public Library, and I've been here to learn something new.
Yeah.
You know me.
I'm
It's all a lie.
I'm kidding. She's notorious. Yeah.
I am, that's true.
I'm Rosanna, the and like some of the people said, looking to see how I can engage the other people, the staff, and different fields, and our research is coming, and all on board with it.
Library in North Las Vegas. As Shelley said, we're in the early stages of a 5-year plan to better connect with our community through their needs. We'll learn how to help the staff embrace that change, keep going in a positive direction.
I'm Debbie Enderman. I'm with the Sparks Library Library System, and I'm here because Washington County is on the verge of some great business opportunities and environment and changes in the community, and I'm hoping to get some ideas on how we can be at that participation. My name is Melissa Berkeley. I'm working with the library, also in Las Vegas, and nobody else from our branch who's on, so I'm gathering information from that.
I'm Daphne Gilliard, I'm right here at third, but also, hopefully, I'll be able to you guys put the connections together and continue to use your conversations throughout the year, and hopefully we'll see some LSV proposals in the future that is what you are looking for.
Hi, I'm Debbie Chancellor. I'm an adult services librarian at the Rainbow Library, which is up in the northwest part of Las Vegas. And I'm kind of consider myself kind of a frontline library person, because I'm right there on the Rivkah Library reference desk every day. And I kind of want to be here to learn ideas, to build all the change, the fact that I meet so many people in the library and outside of the library who are not library users, who, like you said, have no idea what we have to offer, don't think we're relevant anymore, and I want to be able to show them and convince them everything that we have and how we're even more relevant today with all the new technology and stuff.
I'm Forrest Lewis. I'm the director of the North Las Vegas Library District, and we are working on our secondary plan. And a big part of that for us is to get the public to understand what a vital resource we are. And they think of the library, when they think of partnerships. And we had the superintendent of the school district do a presentation at our city council a while back. And he spent probably 50 minutes talking about literacy. Not once did he mention the school or public library. So that's, I think that was very strong on our part as much as theirs.
I use my position, so basically I'm My name is Joanna Taylor. I am a university assistant and
We're always hiring these services. We are always hiring these services.
Rivkah, this is not a recruitment.
Sorry.
I like these people. That's why.
Okay.
I hope to, as a future librarian, learn about change to help implement it in my
I've been in a lot of things, and I've seen the change in our community. And I know that it's coming back. Even in the daily, less than master, and I'm serious. I really love about what we've done. I'm following the doing it, so it's like keeping the kind of
Good morning, I'm Marty Narns, I'm Director of the Washington Library System, and I'm here to give ideas about better engagement community, and also how to learn more about how all the changes that we've been through and have to go through with that staff community.
I'm the circulation here to kind of figure out what you guys have done that works and bring it to
Is that every session?
No.
I'm Jennifer White. I was recently promoted from the adult part-time library district. And I'm also in my first semester in ALS. I'm a brief discussion
And her first project.
And this
volunteer
does also count as a project, so and for. So I'm basically just looking to learn and resources to make a process and something that we're
Yeah. Unless you want.
Yeah.
My name's Robbie Buck. Right. Library consultant with the domestic library archives and public records. And I want to bring you guys all together to create a better network in where you guys can know each other and be able to talk to each other from north and south, see what people are doing in each state, whether it's rural or urban. And just have people that you can talk to. Pick up the phone call, make those connections here in the next day and a half. People would be surprised at what the folks are doing in the north and the south. And go ahead.
My name's Anna Allred. I am from the system, so I'm essentially here because I have to fix it. Yes! So actually, I worked in the library district here in Las Vegas for 10 years and left, which is the worst mistake I ever made. No job ever compared to it. And I'm constantly trying to get back in the door here. But I'm excited to be here and see what's going on in the library these days and the connections with people and see what I can learn.
There you go. Thank you. That was great. I want to know, over here, somebody used the word think tank. Okay. I want to hold on to that. I don't want to let go of the term think tank because I think that is exactly what we're doing here today. We're creating a Nevada-wide think tank, and as I think about a lot of Washoe County people, I mean, you're our neighbors essentially. So I'm also wondering, are there some cross-border opportunities for collaboration? Since Washoe County is like 2 hours from Sacramento, right? So we got to figure that out too. So I heard some recurring themes about connecting with community, strategic planning. Somebody said I want to get my ideas up. You know, I want to be able to express my ideas up. I think that is a really important sort of recurring theme. I heard the words inspiration a couple of times. I heard absorb, learn and absorb, and I'm going to go back to think tank because I think think tank is something important for us all to think about. Now, I'm going to lose my clicker and then we're going to be in a world of hurt. So I appreciate I think it was really important that we just did this. Who are you? I was lucky when I was the director of Omaha, Nebraska. I always say Omaha, Nebraska, in case people don't know where Omaha is. I don't know why. When I was director of Omaha, Nebraska Public Library, a local developer, a home builder, paid for all of the heads of nonprofit agencies, and he included the library in there, to go through a week-long coaching workshop with a woman named Maria Nemeth, who runs something called the Academy for Coaching Excellence. And it was really sort of transformational for me, because I don't think of myself as a coach, but you could tell by looking at me, never very athletic as a child, you know, terrible at sports. So the coaching metaphor for me, it was a difficult one to overcome. I went through that and it changed my life. As it happens, Maria Nemeth and the Academy for Coaching Excellence are in Sacramento, California. So I've gone through another session or another week-long coaching workshop, and I intend to do the next phase of it. But the most important thing that I learned about that, because we are all coaches, and part of what that means is that the person you're coaching has the answers within. I'm not going to teach you anything today that you don't already know. I really believe that. You may hear some things you haven't heard before, but maybe not. So I'm going to say in advance, I'm sorry if I disappoint you. But the other thing that I really learned from Maria and the exercises that I went through is it's about I see me. I have to know exactly who I am before I can help you. So it's I see me, I see you, you see you. So part of what we have to do when we go through an experience like this is really understand what are the things that are keeping me from being successful? What are my obstacles? What am I encountering that is preventing me from trying to move forward? So I had to add that. So, all right. So who are the change agents? Who are the change agents? All of us. So stand up. We're going to do something really, really simple. Okay. See what he's doing? Cross your arms. Now cross them the other way. I can't do it. No matter how hard I try. Right? I do this like whole thing, and then I can sort of get there. And for me, it really demonstrates change can be really, really hard. So let's do it again. Shake your arms out. Okay. Cross your arms. Okay. Now cross them again. See, I have to. I'm sorry. I'm a really bad change agent. There. I think I did it. Yeah, I do it like that. Okay. It's really hard. Okay, thank you. You can sit down. So let's get over we'll work on overcoming obstacles. Now, the other thing I want to know, and this is for something that's a little bit later today. Raise your hand if you're left-handed. Wow, this is the smallest group of librarian folks that are left. Do it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so there are 5 of us. I'm left-handed. I needed to know that because we're going to talk about that. Just a quick aside, do you think you're more flexible than right-handed people? Okay, that's okay. So one of the things I want to talk about is how the landscape, and I heard that as a recurring theme too. Libraries are changing. We're all facing, whether it's sort of, I like to say there's no ennui in libraries, but we're facing sometimes a kind of community sort of idea of the library as not a place that can have anything to offer, right? But what are some things, let's talk a little bit about how our landscape has changed. Some of you are relatively new to the profession, but those of us who've been in it for a while, let's talk about even just the last 20 years. What have you observed in our landscape that's different?
Technology and computers.
Technology and computers. I remember actually, I worked in Maryland when the first Gates grant was given to a public library. It was the Baltimore County Library. And I remember with many a loud huzzah, we all went in and talked about public access to the internet. I won't go into the good, the bad, and the ugly of that. I think you all know it if you work in a public library, what the good, the bad, and the ugly of public access to the internet is. Anybody not know what it is? Because we'll share. Trust me, we'll share. But that technology, what else?
Great Recession.
The Great Recession has had a huge impact on all of us. And I know we'll all be, I'm sure somebody has their phone out. If they raise interest rates, will you alert the rest of us? I'm just curious about what that means. All right, the Great Recession.
The public's perception.
The public's perception. That's a huge thing that we've all encountered in the last, I think less so in the last, not so much 20 years ago, but certainly in the last 15. And I want to actually, quick aside, in 2000, I think it was midwinter 2000, it was in Washington, D.C. Former California State Librarian Stacy Aldrich, who is now in Hawaii, and I walked around the floor of the American Library Association conference with a video camera. And I wish I had the video because it was pretty funny. And we interviewed people from vendors to library directors to new librarians and asked one question. Do you think libraries will be here in 20 years? And because we were both very concerned that because of technology, we were all going to disappear. People were going to figure out we weren't needed anymore. And we walked that floor and we talked to dozens and dozens and dozens of people. And the attitude was, why are you even asking this question? Of course we're going to. Of course we're going to be here in 20 years. You know, and I'm happy to say 15 years later, yeah, I think many libraries will still be around in 20 years. I think school libraries are certainly under threat. I think academic libraries, as we've learned from our colleagues in community college, will look very different. And public libraries certainly have changed. And I think we are very different in the path than we were 20 years ago. But I think a lot of course it's technology, that's the sort of the obvious, but there's also, the scarier thing to me is people's perception about what we have to offer and what we do. And that frightens me. But one of the things, you all know the, what's it called? The Belvoir College. Do you know what I mean? Okay, so I have to share this. This is about this year's college freshmen. You know that one? Okay. This is what the people who started college this month have experienced. Hybrid automobiles have always been mass-produced. Google has always been a part of their lives, with its founding words to organize the world's information and make it universally accessible. Hey, isn't that what we do? Yeah. All right. They've never licked a postage stamp. Think about that. I mean, that's one of the things I'm actually grateful for, because I would hate, I hated that. That gummy feeling on your tongue. Email is now the formal means of communication, right? While texts and tweets are how we communicate with one another casually. South Park has always existed in the world as they know it. Think about it. Hong Kong has always been under Chinese rule. I actually remember, I lived in Washington State when, I remember because we used to vacation in Vancouver and Victoria all the time because it was close. It was 3 hours away. That was a huge thing in their lifetime. No big deal, right? And this is the one that kills me. They've grown up believing that Wi-Fi is an entitlement. And you know, and now I'm at that point too. When I checked into my hotel last night, I just assumed that I was going to have internet access, it was going to work, and actually it's smoking hot, probably because everybody's down using the casino or something. It was great internet access, but it's just something that we take for granted. Our landscape has changed, and yet, as we've been talking about, some of the things that we have encountered are that perception, and there are too many words on this page for you to probably read it, but this was an article that was in the Politics Daily by Delia Lloyd about using her library in London, right? And everything is mechanized. Everything is automated. The librarians are gone. Is that a future? Is that something that we have to encounter? And the thing that actually broke my heart when I read the article was, it's where Keats wrote Ode to a Nightingale. You know, I still am a librarian. And now it's become sort of like this. So the one on the left is a rendering, and I think it's a fair question. Is this what people want? Is this all they expect of libraries? Do they expect to be able to, you know, walk in and use the internet? I don't think. I don't think this is necessarily what people want, but does anybody think, you know, those of us who deal with a lot of people just coming in to use our technology do experience this, and we might not, on our bad days, we might think that's all they want. The one on the right is the library in Taipei that we've all heard about and read about. There's another library. I actually exchanged a number of emails a few months ago with somebody from Denmark, because they have something called the open library concept. Have you read about that? It's actually really interesting, but of course it's Denmark, so it's going to work. It's so great, right? No, but they have a library that's accessible 24 hours a day. There's technology. You can check out books. And the way you get in, your library card is embedded in your national health card. Now, to me, that's kind of an ideal world, but I don't think that's going to work for us. But I'm not sure this is what our customers want. I think, and I'm going to give you an example. Sacramento Public Library is not a very well-funded library. Like I said, we're about average support is $25 per capita. On the 4th floor of our library, we don't have library staff. It's a central library. We have 28 branches, and I should have probably mentioned that. We are the best of all possible worlds. We are urban, we are suburban, and we're rural. We have we have 3 libraries on the Sacramento Delta, along the Sacramento River, that serve communities ranging from 300 to, Ileton theoretically has 800 people. I don't know how that's possible, but they're very, very small. So we are a true wonderful mix of library systems. I'm very grateful for that. But the 4th floor of our central library, where my office happens to be, is a quiet floor. People can come up, a lot of people come up and spend all day there. We have people who run their small businesses. They spread out on the table, they set up their printer and their computer, they run their small businesses. And then, of course, we have a lot of guys who either live in shelters or are homeless. One of them is named Will. And Will he's been using the 4th floor and sitting in the same spot for ever since I've been there, 6 years now. He wears an LA Lakers cap, which I find offensive, but other than that, he's a very nice man. And so yesterday, and he actually came to our community meeting, one of our community meetings, and he talked about what his needs. as somebody who lives in a shelter, what he wants from the library. And if I have time, I'll talk a little bit about a couple of other encounters we had during those meetings, because they were sort of transformational for me. But, you know, at this point I know Will's name, he knows my name, and he saw me walking out with all my stuff my husband was picking me up to take me to the airport yesterday. And he said, "Oh, where are you going?" I said, "I'm going to Las Vegas to work with a bunch of librarians." And he said, "Oh, well, tell him Willie sent you." And so greetings from Will. But, you know, I guess my point is, I don't think this is what our customers necessarily want. Sure, we have people, you know, one of the things that we heard during our community meetings, what do you love? I love the hold system. I love the fact that I put a book on hold and I know it's on the shelf in Carmichael and it's going to be delivered to me in Elk Grove within 2 days. I love Link Plus. So anybody here a Link Plus library here, innovative library that you share. It's virtually eliminated interlibrary loan for us. We don't do traditional interlibrary loan anymore because we're a Link Plus library. Connects us to 45 other libraries in the region, including in Nevada. And people can request a book that we don't own and get it delivered, and usually it's within 2 or 3 days. Yeah, they love that. They love the convenience. They love accessing consumer reports online. They love those kinds of things. But they also love us. They love that human touch. They love hearing that here's a new book that you might like, because I know you like Laura Goodman, and I know you love reading about Baltimore, whatever. I think they want both. At least I believe that. But, you know, I guess I could be wrong. So where we're going to go now is we're going to talk about change agents. And because kind of that's what we're supposed to be here, right? So what I want you to do first is think about someone who led some sort of change, and it doesn't have to be library. Somebody who led a change that you have been involved with. Okay? Think about that person. Think about what it was, and then write down one word that describes that person. So think about, I'm going to give you about 30 seconds to do that, and go drink some coffee. No. One word. How you doing? You have your word? I'll finish chewing my cantaloupe. Everybody have their word? Okay, share. Focused. Confident. Persistent.
Creative.
Determined. Innovative. Visionary. Iconoclast. Passionate. Courageous. Leadership. We've got to write all of these down later. I'm getting chills again. You guys are awesome. More? Prayerful. You mean like, please God, let this work, or? Okay. All right. Positive. Energetic. Okay, I think at some point we're going to do the Post-it note thing. I want all those words because I think that's important. It's a good reminder for all of us. So, did somebody say iconoclast? Yeah. Okay, good. See, because I tend to, it's not like I'm negative. Crazy. Sometimes people think change agents are crazy. Fearless. Somebody said courageous. Okay. Empathetic. Curious. I think maybe. Knowledgeable. But I like your words, so I want all those words later. We're going to write those down on Post-it notes. Because I think we need them. I'm going to just start doing this. I'm going to just throw my stuff on the floor. It's easier, and I'll pick it up later. So, these are all very positive To me, they're positive phrases. Even crazy can be positive, right? But I want to share. I want to lay the groundwork. I hope this all works. Now, there we go. Now I have to do this. Is there sound? Uh-oh. Wait a second. Okay, no, she's...
Hold on one second.
Yeah, that's fine. Where's this? Oh. There we go. Thank you.
Greetings, you all. I'm here to usher in a new phase. This is a great opportunity. I'm here to reconfigure the initialization of Rocky Bars. This will be an exciting utilization of new branding for capitalizing on highly popular content.
Oh, to tackle the case. We will give a good boost start on how we did what we made this week. Because how many
Management lives in Miami, and then we hear to the memorization and organizations.
I'll say that. But every time we have down, we end up losing your house.
Well, I'm interested in to have those things. If you don't have that one, please take a look. These machines do make room for new production equipment.
Yeah, it's not really
So, well, it worked fine this morning. Oh well. Yeah, and we can get this to you later. But I love that scene because I'm not sure I saw fearlessness, courage, iconoclasm. What I saw was somebody saying, do this. So I think we need to talk a little bit about buy-in. Now, how do I blank the screen? I forgot. Oh, I do something here. Is that? Look at that. Okay, so let's talk about that. Because we talked about all kinds of positive terms about changing. Positive words, iconoclastic, courageous, you know. What's missing from Renee Zellweger's character? Persistent.
Every time I have been into a change, it's not necessarily been something that I wanted to go into as I was like, I was worried, knowing what's going to happen. And so every time, I don't say every time, but a lot of the major changes that I've taken in my life, I remember that somebody was very persistent with choices and getting me moving in that direction.
That, I couldn't have paid you to say something better. Thank you. All right, let's think about another, let's go to the other side of the spectrum just for a moment. And think about one word that describes what you just sort of saw. I'm sorry, I apologize for the video. It really was looking great. I have my, I still don't know what this off is standing for because we're not on the wireless, right?
No, and it was working fine.
And this morning it's working fine, so who knows? Think about, inauthentic, unrelatable.
She lacked empathy.
She lacked empathy.
there was resistance among the team and teaching to build that rapport.
Build a rapport. Top down.
Lack of vision.
Lack of vision. Just, we're doing this, do it. Right?
She didn't hold anyone accountable.
She didn't hold anyone accountable. Anything else? Trust. Trust. I think one of the things, whenever you have to make some sort of a change, there has to be trust on both sides. What's another thing that has to occur with trust? I'm thinking about somebody, I think it was you mentioned the Great Recession. How many of you went through budget cuts during the Great Recession? Layoffs? We had a couple of layoffs. We certainly had to reform things in Sacramento. I arrived like a year into the Great Recession, so it was great. Perfect timing on my part. Trust.
Taking away anybody's fears. Their initial fears were that they were going to get, the jobs were going to be cut down the line, and that's really away that at all or explained further.
She didn't really seem to have anything to back up what she was saying. It's just like, this is what I'm told to do. So there wasn't buy-in or reason why they would want to implement these changes.
Really good point. Any others?
I was just thinking, you know you have to look at her, like, she was a little bit rude.
Just fighting a cycle. Yeah.
And I think it was maybe compassion.
Yeah. Compassion. That's a really good one. So those are all, I think those are all, you always take a risk. When I thought of showing this, and again, I apologize for the quality. Whoops. I don't know if it's going to work.
Greetings, you all. I'm here to step in at new Keynote. This is a great opportunity. I'm here to be here in this position of passion. This is an exciting new day that you're ready
Yeah. Okay, so I think you captured it really well during the first viewing of that. I'm amazed that in 2 minutes or whatever that is, 90 seconds.
What movie is it from?
It's from a movie called New in Town. I think John Hamm is in it, actually.
It's a pretty good movie all around.
It's actually, yeah, it's pretty good. I like her a lot. So I think one of the things, and this is where I have to disclose like all of my foibles. I'm a huge believer in making mistakes. One of the things I think sometimes in our systems, especially if we're in a position of authority of any type, people are very scared, first to make mistakes and second to admit them. And I really believe that mistakes actually are good for us. You just try not to make the same one over and over again. You just make new ones, right? I think I have done all of these things. Certainly when I was in Omaha, Nebraska, I think I probably was not very empathetic to some of the changes that we made. I think that I also, instead of seeing myself and what I needed to bring to the table, I just assumed if people didn't buy into the change I wanted to implement, which was very top-down, not unlike Renee Zellweger, I think that I saw people as passive-aggressive rather than worried, scared, I like my routine, what does this mean to me? Because when we talk about change, that's when I think we all, especially when change is being implemented on us or to us, I think one of the things that, is a natural human condition. We look at ourselves and we say, the first question is, how does this impact me? And I think it's important that we maybe consider asking the question, how will this impact people, and have that scenario ready to go when we're talking about implementing change. And I think also one of the things I suffer from, I'm very passionate about what I do. I'm very passionate about libraries. Libraries changed my life as a child. I'm one of those people, I use the library every day. Not every day, every week as a kid. I lived out in the country. It was a thrill for me to go to the library. I saw it as this endless opportunity. I really didn't like school once I got to high school. It was very uncomfortable for me. I spent most of my senior year in the car driving to San Francisco once a week instead of going to school. But I was able to sort of self-educate thanks to the public library. I believe in what we do. I believe passionately in what librarians can offer the rest of the world in all types of libraries. I think it's the coolest thing to do in the world is to work in a library. But sometimes that passion, I think, can overwhelm other people. I want to talk about, just for a minute, a couple of other things, and I want to make sure that I don't walk away without talking a little bit about that knowing yourself business and some tools that you can do for that. Has the Library Journal Lead the Change come to Nevada? Has anybody gone through that? It's a fabulous one-day training. We just had it in Sacramento, and we sent a lot of our frontline staff to it because we saw it as a great opportunity. I think staff development, somebody in the room said they're passionate about staff development, as am I. I used to be a trainer. I worked for a state library agency for many years. I trained librarians on what the internet was. I'm that old, right? Like here it is, and here's what it can do, and there was no graphical internet in those days. I mean, I taught people how to FTP. Like I said, I'm really old. But one of the things that we talked about, and I love that David Bendenovich, who did the training, actually incorporated into his presentation. How many of you have done the Myers-Briggs? So if most people I think are familiar with that particular tool that talks about your operating styles. One of the things I learned, do you think I'm an introvert or an extrovert? Introvert. I'm an introvert. Yeah. So am I. Yeah. And it just, people always say you can't be an introvert. You get up and you do this. Yeah, and then I go back to my hotel room and I curl up with my book and, I breathe deeply. We all have operating style preferences. Something that our organization just did, thanks to an LSTA grant. We just implemented something called the Library of Things. Anybody read about? Did anybody see the article in Tuesday's New York Times? That was us. It was great. That article was written in March. We have staff who aren't even with the library still, but that's okay. It was a great article, and our mayor read it and called it out at a city council meeting on Tuesday night. And I've gotten inquiries from the Metro Chamber of Commerce and other organizations who didn't think about the library. But I digress. So one of the things that we did through, when we got the grants to do the Library of Things, which is it's not anything innovative. You've all done it, right? I worked in a library 35 years ago that loaned artwork. Libraries have had tool libraries for years. All we had was a good story. And the reporter happened to read it and get excited about it and do the story. So it brought attention, in my opinion, to libraries everywhere that have been doing this for decades. But one of the things that we did as part of the grant was we went through a training called the Gallup Strengths Finder. Has anybody done that? I don't know if you're familiar with it. But I want to talk a little bit about it because it's probably worth the $9.95 it would cost you to get a code and go online and do the assessment for yourself, because it identifies where your strengths lie. You may think you know where your strengths lie, and the words that they use don't always mean what you think they mean. You know, what is it? I love that line from the Princess Bride. You keep on using that word. I do not think it means what you think it means. And in a way, the Gallup Strengths Finder is like that, because my number one strength is strategic, right? And the real meaning of what that word means for me, there are 34 million people worldwide who've done the Strengths Finder, and there are 34 strengths too. And so when you do the initial assessment, you get your top 5. And mine include being strategic. Mine include the strength of belief, which means I'm very passionate about, I have very strong ideals about certain things. And I'm going to, those carry me through my work. One of my other strengths, though, is that I'm an influencer. I could be a used car salesman. But I'm very passionate about, if I see something that I want us to do, I'm going to do my best to try to persuade people. So I'm kind of pretty balanced, because I had a couple in there's a realm called executor, and I had 2 strengths there, 2 in the strategic, 1 in the influencer category, and none in relationships. And I think I'm really empathetic and I'm really caring and all that, right? And and so it sort of was like a slap on the side of the head for me to do the Strengths Finder. And I really encourage all of you to think about doing it, because one of the things you'll get is a very detailed assessment of, it's probably 18 or 20 pages, and it's kind of like scarily uncanny, because one of the things that I read about myself was your family is the most important thing to you, and everything I do relates to kind of thinking about how does this impact the people that I really love. And it was sort of chilling and cool and exciting. But my point about bringing it up, when you're thinking about change, and if you know who you are, and especially if you're in a position of leadership, you're the one who's telling other people, think about who they are and how what you're doing will impact them. Because I think that's something that we all need to learn from. And like I said, my whole point in bringing this up is, please don't make the mistakes that I made, because you'll make your own kinds of mistakes as a catalyst for change. You'll make your own protocol, as it were, when you're doing it. But that's a tool that I believe can really, really help you. And one of the things, again, that I've learned is as I implement change or think about change in my own organization, we've gone through a lot of changes in the last 6 years. Not the least reason, it has not as much to do with me as it has to do with external forces like the economy, like technology and how it's changing people's lives. But it also has to do with looking at our workforce and really understanding how we need to change. What skill building do we need to do as an organization? Is that at all, anybody here who's had some experience trying to implement change, what's an obstacle? Have you encountered obstacles with your staff in terms of implementing a change, and what are those obstacles? So when I think about that, I think about the number one growing use of our library, other than programming, right, which is still a very small piece of what we do, but we've grown in the last 6 years from about 60,000 people a year attending library programs to 200,000 people a year attending library programs, right? So we've changed the expectation for what the staff do, but we've also changed expectations from the front line up. We're a pretty flat organization, so we have a classification called Library Services Assistant. Those are the folks over the front line. They're the serve. In another system I worked in, they were called circulation clerks or library assistants. They're the folks who check out the materials, who make the library cards, who show people how to use these self-check machines, but who also are readers, and they're also the ones who, the public, because as you know, if you're in a public library, if you're in any kind of library, nobody knows who the librarian is and who the shelfer is. So, but that particular classification had a real skills gap in our organization. Is that true for anybody else here? Yeah. And so one of the things that we've had to do is really talk about what skills do you need to do and putting a question on them. What do you need to learn? What's your need? It's the classic adult education needs assessment kind of thing. What do you need to better do your job? And then they get to own what they're learning. So we'll talk a little bit about that. I'm going to give you a break. I think it's time to stand up, get a little exercise, and get some coffee. We're going to take a break, and then let's come back and talk a little bit about some of that skill development. Thank you.